Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, to the most controversial podcast.
I don't know for that. I don't think they were that controversial.
No, we're like tame compared to everybody else. What's up? This is the Don't Tell Mom podcast, episode 120. Thanks for joining us. I am Cullen. This is my sister, Britany.
This is the podcast where anything and everything goes, folks. Nothing is off the table. Nothing is off limits.
Everything, anything, everything. What's up? What's been going on?
Hey,
Shit.
Man, I feel like it's been a lifetime since we were sitting in these chairs doing this, and it's only been a week.
I'm wearing. If y'all are watching on the tubes or the wherever you want to watch it, the Ghostbusters, because it is officially October.
Yay! Happy fall, y'all!
It is.
It's Halloweeny time.
There's been a lot that's happened in the world since the last time we spoke.
I'm excited to hear about your news, Cullen.
Oh, well, we've just gotten a couple of offers. I'm talking about in the world, like president's gotten COVID.
I know. That's a big one. That's a topic.
Air quotes, if you want to go that route.
I said to Cullen, what are we going to talk about on the podcast today? And it's like, there's so many things.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? There's no point in planning it because we don't know where this conversation is going to go. But there's a lot of things that, are happening, like you said. And
yeah, we had an idea of something last week to talk about, and then got down the
didn't even mention it
rabbit hole of kids and sleep schedules and stuff.
And at the end, we're going, dang, we didn't even talk about our topic for the day. That's how it goes. But if y'all have been listening for a while, you already know that's how we are. We're very ADD. Ooh, butterfly, so we'll go off on tangents and whatnot. The first tangent I want to talk about today is actually the Trump situation, because obviously it's in everybody's face. That's all we can hear about. That's all the news stories is like what's happening. Cullen, wouldn't it be crazy if the president of the United States of America died of COVID? And wouldn't that just like top off this like movie of a year? Is that not the Is that not straight out of a freaking movie? Y'all?
Straight out of a movie. The man. The myth, the legend.
The fires, the tornado, the hurricanes, the president, the COVID, the pandemic, like all these things this year that's going on, the Black Lives Matter, like all this perfect storm. And then, the main part of the movie is the president dies of COVID. And
they're going to remake a movie called 2020, I bet, for sure. Oh, yeah. There's got to be a movie made out of it.
Isn't there already a movie called 2020 or?
Probably.
Of apocalypse, some kind of apocalypse thing?
Yeah, and just the I don't know. Oh, God.
When they announced it on Friday, I think it was Friday, right? They announced it.
What was your initial thought?
My initial thought was, oh my gosh, the next time I look at my phone, and I had a really busy weekend, so I wasn't on my phone very much, but I was like, the next time I look at my phone, I bet the first thing I'm going to see is a highlight that says president's died of COVID. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this is what's about to happen. Because they were saying like he was doing bad. Like he went to the hospital. Because it's one thing to get quarantined in your own house in the White House, but it's another thing when they moved him to the hospital. I was like, the next thing we're going to see is.
Yeah, well, I was up real late one night.
Died by bleach injection.
Yeah, hydrochlorine or whatever it is. I was up late one night and I got the tweet, or I checked Twitter or something, and I saw the tweet that he had tweeted saying him and the first lady or the. I
thought it was a joke.
FLOTUS. Yeah, that was my initial thought. Was like, this can't, because the debate, the dumpster fire that's been quoted as the debate that happened on Tuesday last week, after the podcast, was just absolute. It wasn't even a presidential debate. It was just a shit show.
Oh,
but,
yeah. That's happened since the last one. Yeah, you're right.
After I saw that tweet, I was like, okay, now this is
chemical
really
warfare.
A joke. Yeah. And I was like, this can't be real. He's got to be kidding, because let's be honest, what comes out of his mouth, especially on Twitter and stuff, is like somewhat laughable in some sense.
Well, you know how you can pretend like you're that person, and like it photoshops you, showing like you're the real Donald Trump and the blue check mark, and like you and you can like type in anything you want and like pretend like that's your tweet, those little things. But so I thought this was like a joke. Somebody had pretended to be the real Donald Trump, photoshopped a meme that says like, I got it. That's all. That's my initial reaction was too.
And then the doubt in my mind about the way he seems to act sometimes, I was like, this is all for clout, or all for he doesn't want to go back to the other debate because it was such a shit show. The next two debates, like he's trying to get out of it because it was so bad.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Depending on who you're for, which is so crazy how the world's divided into this or that, and Auburn or Alabama, Republican, all that.
Shitty picks all around the world.
Yeah, it was just like... He's getting out of these debates, or he's trying to. After he just mocked, he's like, every time I look at Biden, he's got a mask bigger than his face.
Yeah, that was the big news story. It was like, this donkey, like, what are you doing?
Mocking the mask wearing, and up until recently, he didn't.
Well, now we know he's contagious, right? And then he's driving around he's buying pizzas for his supporters outside the hospital.
That's what's just mind blowing to me is, one, like, how many people did he know before the last Tuesday debate that he was,
sick?
Obviously, he had to get tested because I don't know.
You'd think that he was getting tested daily.
Yeah.
Anyway, right? You would think.
All the rallies and close-up stuff that he's had in the White House, mask, this, that, and the other. How many people has he infected? Mm-hmm. How many Secret Service members?
Well, every day there's a new person in his circle that's coming out saying they've got it.
I think there's I saw a report about 9 people in the White House are affected, and then
I feel like that was just a matter of time before that happened anyway, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and then you get in the airplane knowing you've got the virus, that's why or the helicopter, you're going to Walter Reed to get this most special treatment, and then he brags about that, about they're doing a great job, and he's getting this rare treatment that nobody else in the world has received yet. And
don't worry about it, everybody. We got the best doctors and the best treatment.
And it's no, you do, but what about the 200,000 that have already died? Yeah, it's good Lord. And then after all that, you go out in front to get a photo shoot of pizzas that you want to deliver to everybody. Again, doing a drive-by. That's right. Waving. I mean, so technically wouldn't...
He's trying to... I get it to a degree. He's trying to show people that you can't live your life in fear.
Exactly.
Corey's like this. Corey's people don't want to live in fear. If it's my time to go, and I get it, and that's what's the death of me, and that's what God had planned for me, or whatever. I mean, he didn't say that, but he said... If it's my time, and if I get it and I die from it, then that was, how I was supposed to go. But I can't live my life in fear. I can't not go to work and provide for my family because I'm so scared of this thing that's out there that could or could not hurt me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like you get in the car every day knowing that there's car accidents every day. You still get in the car and drive to work. I mean, that kind of mentality. So to a degree, I get it. He's trying to say, hey, don't be scared. Don't let it dominate you, because there are people out there that are really paranoid or really scared, that are letting it dominate their life. And, with mental health things and, even lead into suicide and things like that, because they're so concerned about it, and what's happening in the world because of it, and losing their jobs and all this stuff. And so I think that was kind of the message. I get that that's the message that he was trying to say, because I've heard other people say that too, I don't want to live in fear, right? But you got to look at the numbers. But making it it's very obvious that he makes very light of it. Yeah. And so to the people that have lost somebody, or that are about to die from this, that are affected, it's kind of a slap in the face to them. Yes. I saw somebody tweet to President Trump saying, "I lost my dad to COVID," and I was only able to say bye to him through a cell phone because nobody else was allowed in the room. Right. But here you are, Mr. President, getting in a helicopter, getting the best treatment in the world, and will be surrounded by your loved ones if the time comes. And like you said, a slap in the face. I guess at the end of the day, it's hard to have sympathy for somebody that's obviously made such a light. It's like karma. It's like, I saw Philly D tweet and was like, let's just be honest, I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner. Me too. Me too. It's crazy. I'm honestly surprised that. I mean, it can happen. You hear all these stories about people that have gotten it, and they've done literally every single thing that they've been recommended to do. They put the mask on, they do the hand sanitizer, they're super careful. I know that there's people out there that never even left their freaking house and still got it somehow. They got it through, having their groceries delivered. Something that. So technically, the people that he came in contact with
on that helicopter ride in those SUVs. They are supposed to be quarantined now for 14 days because they knew they were in contact with somebody, a patient that had tested positive. I'm like, so you just put all those people out on
without able to see their families and all this stuff
for 14 days.
You think it's kind of a tricky subject because you've got these Secret Service that I'm sure, in Trump's opinion, it's like, well, your whole job is to risk your life for me. Yeah. So but then with the way that this is and the fact that it's a disease, an airborne trial, the way that this thing works is that person is now could have it, not show any symptoms, go home, give it to their grandmother passes, or give it to their wife or their kid or whatever. I mean, there are children that have died from this that didn't have underlying. So, I mean, you don't know. It's really crazy how the disease doesn't care what color you are, what size you are, how old you are. Obviously, a lot more people that are older die. And so that's what kind of my first reaction was like, he's in his 70s,
74-year-old man, yeah.
They said he's obese and
then the conspiracies about having oxygen on his person, walking to the helicopter, but they did.
He looked like he was struggling to breathe. You know that he's about saving face right now.
There was one clip where he was in Walter Reed in a conference room making a video. He's been making update videos. And there was one clip that was obviously edited in mid-sentence. He was like, and then he started to cough, but they cut and then continued the sentence. It was like an edited clip of a video. It was just like, golly, yeah, he's trying to look as good as he can, but he's also, you can tell in one of the videos, the second one, I think, he was pale and didn't have his orange sunscreen on or whatever they do to him, and just looked pretty in rough shape. So that's kind of when I was like, okay, he's not making this up. Obviously, and then the conflicting reports from the hospital, the doctors and stuff, like he didn't have oxygen. Oh, well, I didn't want to come out and say that he did to scare anybody.
Well, we will never know the truth, Cullen. We're never going to get the truth from this
show
guy.
Us the positive, when we took Brooks to get tested.
I think it would be better for him to be like, I'm so sick, this really sucks, and he would be able to relate more to people and get probably more votes if he had been vulnerable. Yeah.
Well, going back to the virus doesn't discriminate, and it takes so long to sink in. The Biden and his wife got tested, I think the day after the debate, after this tweet came out, and they tested negative. And he's an older man as well, and she's and everybody's like, yay, they tested negative, or that's a good thing. But I'm like, but it takes longer than just a day to get, and so it could be another
14 days.
10 days.
That's why you quarantine for that long, because you might not. And the false positives and the false negatives on these tests, it's like the tests really aren't very reliable anyway. So, man,
is there going to be a second and third debate?
I don't. Probably not, but we'll see.
I think there's a vice president debate happening tonight
today,
or something.
Or
and
yesterday.
They've said they're going to have different measures now. They're going to have a piece of clear plexiglass in between the contestants, if you want to call them contestants.
I have a hard time just wrapping my head around the precaution, all of this. I had to travel this weekend, and I'm going through the airport.
How was that flight?
It was packed. They didn't put any, there wasn't a seat in between me. My entire flight, every flight was packed full.
You were sitting right next to somebody?
Sitting right next to somebody.
Oh,
and
man,
then they won't do
out.
drink service. But you can take your mask off to eat or drink if you have something, but they won't do, they won't do flights or drink service during the flight. You can't get a Coke or anything like that,
and because
of why?
Flight.
Why? Tell me. It just doesn't make common sense. Common sense tells you if you're going to stick me 2 inches from somebody else that's coughing, then why do I give a damn if you don't if you bring me a Coke? I don't understand the logic. We're taking extra precautions and not doing, drink service, but you're going to put me next to somebody?
I would imagine, since it's airborne, I don't know, going from the maid's service desk in the very back of the airplane all the way to you, there's all that interaction.
Colin, let's face it, we're all breathing the same air. If this is an airborne thing, we're all just circulating. This is a pressurized, we're all breathing each other's funk. Someone in the first aisle farts, you're going to smell it in the back because you're in a little bitty airplane.
I've always been, I couldn't imagine
you're
being
not
on
getting fresh air through there.
I've always been swamp ass, like sweaty when I get on the airplane. I'm like turning my thing, give me some air, and half the time it's blowing hot air, and then
it's blowing it from the front.
When people sneeze or cough, I'm just like, oh my God, this is.
You just see it traveling. This is the thing, even with the mask. It's like I was sitting behind somebody. And he was coughing. And then
he was? No.
And so it's coming out the back of your thing. It's coming to me from behind you. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I get it, how it can help a little bit. I just don't think it helps that much. I think that it's just like luck of the draw.
So you were on like a long flight with no drink service?
Yeah, 8 hours. Like I was literally traveling from 5 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. So, but I mean, my flight was 4 hours or 4 or 5 hours for the first one, another 2 hours for the next one. And then I have the layovers. You got to be there early, all this stuff. And people, let me just say, people do not understand what social distancing means. You can put the things on the floor all day long. That doesn't mean that somebody's not going to come up and get in my personal space because people are rude and they're stupid.
Yeah.
Let me just go ahead and tell you, every time somebody gets up close to me, like I'm standing at the Hudson, to get a drink. And I'm looking at the drink, or no, I'd stop to look at the magazines, thinking, okay, I might get a magazine for my flight. And I'm standing here, and somebody comes up and reaches across me to get the magazine that's on the other side of me. And it just makes me scream, like, do you not understand, like, what personal space is? Like, it's rude to do that if there's not a pandemic going on.
Yeah, right.
But it's like the same people that'll be like, oh, social distance and step on the lines and all this are the same ones that when they're not thinking about it are just going to come up into your space and reach across you. And, you know what I mean? And cough and wipe their hands on their leg and then open the door. Those are the same kind of, I just think people are so dumb. But it just doesn't make any sense.
I couldn't imagine traveling.
I think it's just like luck of the draw. I think eventually everybody's going to have it, and then it's going to morph into something else, and we're all going to get it again. I think that we're definitely going to have a second wave. In Europe, they're already shutting stuff down again. They're about to shut down some places in New York, is what I hear.
Oh, man.
I just feel like until we get this thing under wraps, just like the flu, until we get it kind of under wraps.
There's been some football players in some of the sports, football teams that
I hadn't heard about the sports. What's going on there?
With the sports being kicked back off, third week of the season, I think.
Didn't a whole team get it?
I think like a big chunk of the team got it, yeah. And then me and Katie were talking about it, and we've heard these reoccurring these cases coming back out, and I'm like, has anybody at Brooks's, my little 4-year-old school, gotten it? I don't think so. Like, what are they doing differently that these other people aren't doing? That, and then we're like, or would they tell us if they did have it, or would they just keep it hush to not scare anybody?
That's the big thing.
So we don't know if somebody has been tested positive at his school. I mean, you're talking about little toddler, like 4-year-olds and stuff. We've been in school for a while now, and I don't think there's been any issues. There was one time that we did go take Brooks to get tested, and we just emailed the staff there and the president of the school and said, hey, by the way, this is what happened. We went just because he was having symptoms and got tested. He was negative for this, and this. It was just a common cold. And they were just like, okay, thanks for letting us know. And I'm like, okay, so if somebody said we went and got tested for COVID and he tested positive, they'd just be like, okay,
thanks for letting me know.
Thanks for letting me know. Keep him home for 14 days. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
No, I imagine that if something like that got out and like the mother of that person was like, why weren't you quarantining everybody else in his class? Or you know what I mean? Like, I imagine that would be more risky.
Liability, yeah.
Than to just shut it down. You know what I mean? Like, do you shut it down and it sucks, everybody get through it? Or do you lie and cover up? And that seems like the example we've been given to do from the leaders of the country here, but it's not morally right, I don't think, to do it like that.
Gosh, yeah, I don't know. It's like when your dog shits in the on a walk and nobody's around looking at you, do you pick it up or do you just leave the shit laying there? And in the past, I would just leave the shit laying there. I'm like, oh, it's good for the grass. I don't want to waste this plastic bag and litter more. Nobody saw that. Just it's far enough off the path that nobody's going to step in it.
I'm the same way but you live enough years to know that I'm going to walk this same trail tomorrow, right? And I don't want to see an old pile of shit sitting there.
And if it's somebody else's dog, I would hope they would pick it up so I don't step in it or my dog doesn't step in it.
Very mature, Cullen.
So I give that to Katie. Like she's taught me my ways.
You do it when no one's looking.
Because there's been times where I'm like, no, just come on, Katie, let's go. We don't have time for that. And she's like, no, Cullen, I'm doing what is right. And then when she's not around,
I hear putting your damn cart up.
I hear that little voice in my head. Just pick it up. Just pick up the dog shit.
It'll take 2 seconds.
So, I don't know. Yeah. Oh man, what a freaking week. And then no telling what's going to happen in the future. But
I think that probably the president could have used this actually to tug on people's heartstrings a little bit to get some more people in his favor if he was vulnerable and was what do you call it when you're humble and you say, okay, you know what, I was wrong. This can happen to anybody. If this was like the perfect opportunity for him to kind of change course and say, you know what, I've experienced it now, and
but he's taken
apologized,
taking the 10-foot tall bulletproof approach where he's like, I'm the leader. Mm-hmm. We're not going to let this defeat us. I've been learning lots about it. I'm getting schooled on this disease. And then you got people going, well, there's people that go to school that have been telling you about this disease
the whole time.
This freaking 8 months and you weren't listening until now. So
I imagine that he's going to be like, oh, well, I had it and I got over it. And so
that's what's going to happen. Yeah. He's going to,
so it's nothing to be scared of, like he's already saying. And then it's going to be, it's just going to make the people that support him even more, in their stance against like, you're not going to encroach on my rights to wear, to not have to wear a mask and blah, blah. It's like, no shirt, no shoes, no problem. Why is that accepted? But you can't put a mask on to help save another life. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Socially responsible, folks. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Let's stay indoors if you can right now. The flu's about to come up. Have you done your flu shot yet?
No, I don't think so.
A lot of people are saying they're not even going to get a flu shot this year because they don't know.
Yeah.
I don't trust the government. I don't trust what's going on in the world.
What are they going to put in that? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to.
You always get even more sick. Your immune system gets a little bogged down.
Because they give you the flu. That's what they're doing. Yeah.
In the beginning, and then
it's like, what if they give you the flu shot? Now you have the flu, and then bam. You get COVID, and now you're dead.
Yeah.
If you hadn't got the flu shot, you'd have been fine. Like I get it about that. I don't know if I'll get a flu shot this year.
It's going to be crazy, and there's only like less than 30 days till the election. So get out and vote. I think there's several states yesterday that was the last day to register. I don't know what states are coming up but I think the number of votes that are going to be turned in this year are going to be record breaking, especially all these influencers and people I've seen on social media that have been like using their platform to tell their followers to get out and vote, when in the past it's just been like, I can't control what happens. Like whatever happens. But I think
now it's like every vote counts.
Every vote counts.
Seriously, every vote counts.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Can I just touch on this? If y'all haven't heard about this yet, because I thought this was great, but the whole Proud Boys comment or whatever at the debate. Can I just say bravo to all the gay and lesbian community that is going out there and hashtagging Proud Boys making out with their partners. I think that is fabulous. That's like the funniest thing to me that's happened this year because it's like, F you guys. It's a slap in the face for the Proud Boys.
Proud Boys, golly.
That's crazy. But anyway, so yes, folks, vote. That's what's going on. If you live under a rock and you don't know what's going on, that's what's been happening in the world.
Yeah, it takes like 2 minutes. Well, I'll try to find a link and leave it in the description to get yourself registered. It's all over Instagram. When you log into Instagram,
Who you voting for, Cullen?
I don't know yet.
You're traditionally kind of Republican, right? I'm traditionally a little bit... I'm like a Democrat. You know how like the lines go? Because I don't really understand politics, but this is what I've decided with my smart friends is that there's like the line, Republican, Democrat, and then you go all the way to the far right is which one? That's
independent.
That's liberal, right?
Yeah.
Liberal. And then far left is conservative. So that's like the scale. If y'all don't know, this is what was explained to me. So like me, I feel like I'm right on the line, but like one step to the Democrat.
Right. No,
side.
I say I don't know yet, but I can't let, I morally, going back to your morals, like what's been happening, continue to happen. Like, it's just, and it's not like I'm going to change the world.
For the party, not the person. Like, you know how you, like normally you vote for the party, not the person. But it's just like, God, but the person that's representing the party is such a doorknob. Like, what an idiot or what a boob. You know, both of them suck.
Yeah, there's no, it's like, these are the only two options. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, literally, are you kidding me? I remember 1 year there was the same, like, are you kidding me type mentality, and I even took a picture and tweeted it, I think, but I wrote in Nick Saban.
Can we do that?
Yeah, you can do it right in.
Tommy Tuberville's running for something. I mean, let's knock him off the dude. You know who I think would be great at being the president is Cuomo, the New York guy.
Oh yeah.
He's just, I just love listening to that guy talk because he's just like no bullshit. He's just very relatable and just kind of tells you like it is, and his opinion, whether you agree with it or not, he's just going to tell you like it is. I really liked him when he was doing all those like press conference. I mean, he got the coronavirus down to like the lowest rate in the country after being the highest. Like, I don't know. I feel like he can hold his own. Like, I want to write his name in. Can he run, please? Can we get him?
Oh gosh, but the interesting way the future in the current world is working. It's just crazy seeing like who is going to be the next. You got Kanye, and then you've got like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You've got all these like celebrities. Even Donald Trump is our president. Like,
I thought it was a joke
fired.
when he ran.
Yeah, I know. It's like
that is a joke. He's going to pull out like this. There's no way.
Who's the next celebrity that is going to actually be in charge of this country? That's just
Ryan Reynolds for president.
Mind blowing to even try to think about.
Him and Blake Lively. That's the couple, right?
I don't know.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, I think, are my favorite little couple.
Yeah,
pretty sure it's not Bradley Cooper. He's really hot, but I don't think that's the one that's married to Blake. But can you imagine those two? He's hilarious. He's
like president, vice president.
No, president, first lady, Blake Lively.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I mean, they're hilarious. They're like hilarious. They're like some of my favorite people. Like they're making fun of each other, and I think that's like the best marriage and the best way to like make your marriage last is to not take each other so seriously and always poke fun and make fun of each other and all this. Well, he's always posting like terrible pictures of her, and she's like posting great pictures of him. Well, they'll have a picture together, and he'll like move over to where you can't see her. Like he'll block her from the picture and just do funny things to poke fun at each other. And I think he'd be a good one if we were to do celebrities, but probably not. Let's just stick with, I don't even want to say politicians because they suck. Let's stick with people that know what they're doing, though. You know what I mean? That legit.
I would almost rather have like somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. That is,
but we already have that. That's what we're going through right now, Cullen.
That is liked generally in the world. As far as like, I would say even like The Rock before he came out with his stance on who to vote for, because that just polarized him, I think.
Yeah.
But
he's a likable guy, though.
Yeah, he's a likable guy, and just those type of like those people that've got like such an influence and impact in the world.
Me, let's do me.
Yeah,
Britany for president. Yeah, Britany
Will
for
Smith,
president.
like
Will Smith.
you know, like that type of mentality. That you have the charisma and the personality and the willingness to want to change and want to learn. So if you F up, then you take responsibility for it, and then you got a whole team around you to tell you what to do anyway.
See, Obama had that smooth charm, that likability,
Yeah, and even after
we went from like really likable to really not likable, like real fast.
Yeah, but even after his presidency, he's like out there with his sleeves rolled up, with his shirt unbuttoned, dancing, just having a good time. I'm like, you could hang out with this guy.
I like relatable people. Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. It's gonna be intriguing to see what happens, but
we just got a few more weeks and we'll find out. Hopefully it'll be for the best, and it'll bring our country together at the end of the day, and everybody will and everything will get better. Let's just hope that everything gets better, because it's straight up like a movie right now. I'm ready for this year to be over and let's start anew.
Speaking of movies, I heard that a lot of the theaters are getting shut down, like going out of business because of everything. So,
well, not a lot of people are going in the movies anyway because you can get it all right there on your TV screen, and I could see that happening
again on the movie train. If you saw my Instagram this past weekend, Alabama was playing football, and me and Katie were sitting in the hot tub, and I was like, I don't want to get out, but I want to watch the game. Let me go get the TV and put it over here. Well, then she sends me a picture last night of an Instagram page that has a house with a hot tub movie room built in, and I'm like, this is the new thing.
Is that where y'all are moving?
No.
Something for sale?
I think it was like a Pinterest type, a influencer thing, but it was amazing. It had the little fake fire over to the side, and then the movie was it was like a huge, and then they were like down in, you had to step down into the built-in hot tub. It was a hot tub movie room.
I couldn't stay in a hot tub for a whole movie though.
Well, I
need a really comfortable place to go sit. Like I need a swimming pool too next to it.
Well, this was. I mean, they had the headrests, like the cushy headrest, the waterproof. But me and Katie, we started off with like 101 as the hot tub temp, and then after like the kickoff, where I was like, I am burning up. Like,
it's time to go.
I got to get out of here. And then so I drained some water, and then we filled it up with cold water, and got it down to about 95. Yeah. That was perfect.
Yeah,
I literally
like a warm blanket.
Could have sat there all day. Hot tub water that was about 95 degrees.
That's the thing to do though, Cullen. Like having your own movie nights. Like I saw one since the pandemic happened where because the movies are closed and somebody's birthday and they love the movies, so they got a bunch of those like blow up couches and put them all 6 feet apart, and then had like the popcorn and a big stand with all the food, and you can go up like a buffet line and get your candy and your M&Ms and your popcorn and Cokes, and then go to your own couch. And they had it outside, and it was like they had one of those projectors in the movie screen, the outdoor movie screen, and that was like somebody's party for their birthday. I was like, what a great idea, I feel like a lot of people, since this has happened, are going to be more conscious of making investments in things that they know that they can do by themselves. Like, I'm sure RV sales have gone through the roof. Like, we're talking about getting an RV.
Oh, yeah.
Like, things like you got to make your own happiness, right? And if you can't go to the movies or to the club to dance, then maybe now, if you loved going out to the clubs and the bars, maybe now you like to go camping and hiking where you can do things by yourself.
Yeah.
And, the next apocalypse, you'll have a little house to go in the woods.
Van life. There was a big community on this here YouTube thing and podcast world that show a lot of van life stuff. There was one girl that blew up, got like 2 million subscribers and 3 videos she posted, I think. And I hadn't heard about her since, but had a built-in shower and, all this in a van.
I know.
Down by the river.
I know. That's like the thing to do now is build your van out. I would love one of those. We're trying to get one for Corey because he works out of town a lot. So keep that per diem money and put him in the trailer, and then and then we'll also have something to go and camp out with the girls. So yeah, that
would be fun because you're literally not tied down or bound to anything, any one place. Like if you had everything you needed in a van down by the river,
down by the river, Cullen, I'm telling you.
You would learn a lot as far as what it takes to live. And
these travel trailers and these little tiny houses and stuff. The travel trailers we looked at the other day, $25,000 for a brand new 2020 travel trailer that we can pull behind the truck and like unhook and then be done. That thing was better than some of the apartments I've lived in, Cullen. It was nice. It had a kitchen island. It was big. It had all these slides that come out, like king size bed. You can walk around both sides. It was money. So if y'all are
there's a convention kind of like the World of Wheels or like the BJCC gun show. Where they have this huge warehouse but there's a RV convention that I saw. Like an Airstream, one of the silver bullet type looking things.
Yeah, the really expensive ones.
And I saw some clips from these things that were like unbelievable. The way they just like transform.
Press the button.
Yeah, and it goes from like a 1 bedroom to a 4 bedroom.
I just have the best idea.
What is
Cullen, you and Katie need to just completely redo your YouTube channel and be the traveling family, and just go buy a sweet ass tour bus type RV, like a big old.
We've thought about it. Like we've
just tour the country.
We thought about doing like a cross country thing. We actually, I think that's where I saw the convention footage. Was we had a brand reach out to us that was doing RV stuff. And,
oh my God, yes.
But to talk, I mean, we got 2 cats and 2 dogs, but people do it with their dogs and cats. I know Charles Trippy, who's been on this podcast, actually did a tour with the RV. I think probably the same brand that reached out to us.
But he was a band guy, so he's kind of used to the.
He's kind of used to it, but he had his dogs and everything, and it wasn't one of those like you pull behind. It was like a bus, like like big
bus.
old like one of those Winnebago type things.
It's like $200,000 for a nice one.
Yeah, but it's just like, that would be so cool. You'd wake up in a new state every day. Like you take turns driving.
Well, the whole idea is that you want to be about nature and stuff, which right now is a great time to do this because you can go to a state park. You can go literally from one national park to the next and wake up and park your RV for a couple of weeks, and then you don't really spend time inside. You spend time outside. You set up like some of these RVs have their own balconies, which are 2 feet off the ground. But it's like you have your setup and you just sit outside. It's like all about being outside in nature and. Like to park one of those things by the lake or something, and just let the kids be out there running around and playing. Like and
you got a bed for naps. You got food if you need it. Like,
the idea is to be outdoors, but to have something like home, like a little home with you.
There's one over by the splash pad. There's an RV park here by the Metropolitan.
You saw that one with the balcony?
Yeah, I didn't realize I was walking the dog over there, and I looked out, and they had like the AstroTurf. They had plants with flower pots. They had a little pumpkin. They literally looked like they were set up to stay for, however long. It looked like a little house, a little front yard in the middle of a RV parking lot. It was crazy.
That's what you need to do. You need to get a freaking house. Let's get a boat and a yacht, a big boat, and with a marine slip, and then an RV to where you can park your RV, buy your boat, and go either way.
That would be dope.
Have your little mopeds and shit hanging off the back, so you can just drop your moped off and zip around.
That would be cool.
Cullen, I'm telling you, there it is.
That would be cool. There's some friends, the Sly Fox fam, that has recently done this. They've gotten a van, and they're doing the whole build out series on their channel, getting out of the debt. I think they've paid off all their debt, and they still have a little apartment that they reside in whenever they want to, but they've mainly been just showing this whole build out of this van, gutting it, putting it all together, making it look legit. I
don't know if you could do all that.
The little string lights hanging inside. I know, right?
If you're handy enough. Corey'd help you though. He's talked about it. We've talked about getting instead of buying a brand new one, getting like a $5,000-$10,000 one, and then letting him build it out like real cute farmhousey and all this stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that would be. Now's the time because y'all got 2 offers on your house?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second?
That was
y'all got to find somewhere to go.
Latest video. Y'all stay tuned for the next video where we talk about more of the details as far as that goes. But yeah, we've gotten 2 offers.
2 offers pretty much sold, right?
Well,
I know you don't want to get your hopes up.
Still in the process of everything, and so yeah, we've been kind of looking in here and there, and yeah, it's going to be interesting because we're downsizing majorly, and so when we're talking about this,
which is good because that house is way too big. Y'all
huge,
I dropped when I was out of town. We had dropped Sophia and Lily off at y'all's house over the weekend, and she had gone to sleep. Katie said, "Oh, well, she's asleep up in the room upstairs or whatever," and it was literally a room I didn't even know about. I'd never even seen that room. I was like, "Yo, I've never even heard of this room." Like the hallway just kept going. It's like this house is huge, man. It's way too big.
It's way too big. I'm kind of concerned about I'm nervous as hell.
You're used to being all spread out.
Well, I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about all of our stuff that we don't need, but we don't have a place to. We're gonna have to get a storage unit. And because I don't know, I don't want to get rid of our dining room table and china cabinet because what if in a year we decide, because we're renting, we've made that clear, but we realize we don't like where we're renting, and so we want to move somewhere else that may be a little bit bigger or not,
and then we have the room for the table,
and then we need a dining room table. Like, so we want to keep some stuff in storage. Some stuff, a lot of shit. There's so much stuff in our house that I'm like, how are we going to go from a 5,200 square foot house to a 2,000 square foot house or something, but not just physically, but I'm talking about just stuff that I don't know.
Y'all did all that Marie Kondo. You got rid of so much.
Could
so
do
it's like,
so
how do you
much
have
more.
so much more?
Yeah, no, there's still so much more.
Now, what about Katie's family? Do they have like a lot of space? I know in their house, they have a big old house. Do they have a lot of room for storage? No.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you got a little space here. We can put a little bit of your things in, but not a lot.
Well, let's see, that's the thing. We just want it to be accessible if we do happen to need whatever it is. I don't know. Like, we just get it. Just kind of just being prepared for whatever the case may be. So it's
to go to an RV, then you might have to. You definitely get a big old storage.
Literally would need to sell everything, and which a lot of people do. There's been some folks on Instagram that I've followed that have sold everything and moved to the beach and started over from scratch. I
like that idea.
That's just so scary to me because I'm just like such a homebody and like. I've got my stuff that I've
take a picture of it,
worked hard for.
Put it in a photo album, throw it away.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of what y'all went through and the psychology about it when y'all were doing the Marie Kondo stuff. And getting rid of a lot of stuff. It's like, but you've already done that. So you're like, but now the things I do have, they do bring me joy and I don't want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So I get it. But I mean, like you can always put in a storage unit and come back to it.
That's what we're going to probably end up having to do.
And here's the thing, after a year of your crap sitting in a storage unit and you're paying for it every month, after a year, and you realize, you know what, I don't need any of this stuff ever again.
Amen. I listened to a minimalist podcast the other day while I was doing some painting, and they talked about, I think it's the 30-day rule or 60-day rule or something.
You don't use it in 60 days.
You pack it up. Yeah, this girl was moving across country to go to college, and she didn't want to leave the burden of all her stuff with her parents because like it's not their responsibility to take care of it. But she also didn't know what to do with it because she didn't want to have to pay for storage unit, this, that, and the other. And they said something about the 30-day or 60-day rule or something, or having a packing party or something like that. You pack everything up. And it's kind of like what we have done already when we initially put our house. We had already like gotten boxes from Roadrunner Moving because I was like, we need to stage our house and have it ready to go for pictures, but I don't know what to do with all this stuff. We need to box it up. Boxed half of our stuff up and literally haven't touched it since. Like it's still down in the garage. So now I'm like, but I know it's there, and I know like one day I might need the poison ivy treatment that's from under my sink or something.
Right? That's like, just sitting in a box.
Just sitting down there, or some shoes that I know.
9 times out of 10, you'd be like, oh, I need some poison ivy treatment. And you go to the store and buy a new bottle. Like what's $3?
Yeah, true.
You think about how much it's going to cost you to buy all those things, and then how much it cost you for a year in a storage unit, and you tally it up and see which one's more.
Then see, now that we've gotten the 2 offers and we're playing the waiting game essentially at this point and trying to figure out what to do next, I'm like wanting to go ahead and make life easier on the front end and start packing stuff up.
Yeah.
But like, am I going to need that?
Jinx it?
Yeah, and or am I going to jinx it? And I don't want to do that until we're for sure. So,
what are the kids saying?
We actually recorded their reaction to some stuff the other day, right after church. So they're excited. They don't understand. I don't think necessarily.
They're little,
but because we've been prepping them about they all obviously are frustrated and sick and tired of having to leave the house for showings.
Right. Yeah.
Yesterday morning, we made up his bed, and I went up there to help him. And I played dumb just so he would show me how to make up his bed. And then we were leaving his room. He was like, Are we leaving for a showing today, Daddy? This was on a school day. I was like, see, I hate hearing that shit. Like, I'm tired of doing this. And so luckily now that
Hopefully
we do have 2 offers, we don't have any more showings. But he's like, can I bring my shower with me? Can I bring does the mailbox come if we ever move? Like, so trying
cute.
to process
this
it
is the only
all.
house he knows, isn't it? I mean, was he born?
Yeah.
He was born when y'all were in this house, wasn't he? Or?
No, the other one.
Yeah, but he was. They're both of them were little babies. So Gaines, does she remember the old house at all?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah.
I wonder if they'll remember this one when they're older. Like, you know, we lived in another house when we were little, and I don't remember it. You do. I remember like there was strawberries. You could pick strawberries from the back.
And there was a tree house that Dad built.
And that was all I could remember. It was like these little details, but
I came across an old video yesterday on your Instagram that was Brooks, probably a little bit younger than Sophia's age, at the new house that we're in, or the current house we're in. But I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh, I forgot he was that young and he's been in this house. So I think they're going to remember it for the most part.
A little bit.
But when we were gone to the beach for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, almost a month, to let the house show and do all that stuff.
Away, yeah.
We didn't have any of our stuff with us. All we had was our clothes.
Did you need anything?
And literally, they didn't remember. Brooks even was like, on the way home, he's like, I forgot what our house looks like. Like, because he had already like gotten so used to, you know, granted it was the beach house. It's furnished with everything we need, couches and tables and food. I mean, all that, but like just all his stuff. But then he was even more excited
when he got home. He was like, "Oh, I forgot about this toy."
Yeah,
all about it. Well, I'm excited about this new adventure you're about to embark on. I can't wait. I'm literally at the edge of my seat to see what y'all decide to do and like where life is going to take you after this crazy journey in this place. And
I like your idea. We might just get in an Airstream and stream across.
Not
the
an
country.
Airstream. They're overrated. I think you need a very big RV. You need to trade that Suburban in for a truck and get you a fifth wheel or something, like a big one with 3 slides, like the biggest.
Yeah.
And do the damn thing. Some of these places you can go to the lake. Like we went to the lake and we were looking at lake houses the other day, and when we were down there, and we said, wait. Look at this. It's like an RV park, and people have built a deck up to their RV stairs. Like, they built a deck around their RV. Like, their RV wasn't going anywhere. They
that's where they're living.
That's where they live, is at the lake. And they just pay the RV rent, you know, and they probably have like a long rent or whatever. But they literally drove their camper, their RV, set it up, built a deck around it, and that's where they're at. And we were thinking, they're in like this park with all these other RVs, and you're thinking like, oh my God, how cool would that be to be partying in the RV park? Like, think about all the people you get to meet and whatever. It's like, do we want to get a house or should we get an RV and do like this and just
I'm like, but then I can't be loud. I'm gonna wake the kids up, trying to get up to the driver's seat, like all that stuff. I don't know.
No, you need one that you can take your truck off and drive. You need You need one that you can still have your vehicle, I think, and then you can park. That's what we're looking at getting. But Cullen, that would be so sick. I would watch it.
Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. And
stay tuned.
That does it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks so much for listening, watching, all your support. Give us the likes, the thumbs up. Favorite this podcast on your favorite podcasting platform.
Wash your hands and vote.
All right. See you guys next week.
Peace.